Breathe in and breathe out, hands up and hands down. Back up, tell me what you gonna do now. It's Preston Can't Play. Hey everybody, we are back playing more Final Fantasy X, and by we, I mean just me. I am playing Final Fantasy X solo. And that is because Tawn is kind of in the middle of moving, and it's been a busy couple weeks, for us. And so here we are, we're just playing some solo. I thought it would be safe since there's kind of a precedent for me playing this game by myself anyway, although that is not the intended plan. So we, on our last episode, we just cut that. On our last episode, we had just played the first Blitzball game, and something happened here. I think Waga got injured or something. Oh yeah, he's hurt. I thought we finished the game. Did we fight some things? Oh, we're about to fight some things now. That's what happened. Yeah, so we lost the game, but that doesn't matter. As in real life, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, as long as you beat up the monsters that attack you after the game. Yeah. I don't have anything to discuss today. Oh, I kind of started talking about this on one of our last episodes of playing Bayonetta, which probably won't be out for a few more weeks. If you're watching this current episode of Final Fantasy X when it airs, just because of how our scheduling goes. So stay tuned for the conversation that Ton and I had on that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so I got into this kind of rabbit hole of watching these videos by this cat named Zeltik, or a channel called Zeltik, which is all just Legend of Zelda related content, and it's fun. And so, and I also, because of a collaboration video that he did with this other person, Nintendo Black Crisis, on some theories about Breath of the Wild 2. And I hadn't watched the trailer yet for Breath of the Wild 2. But it's, after watching this theory about it, I watched it, and it's pretty hype. And so they just have these a few videos they did together, and then Nintendo Black Crisis has their own couple videos that they did on the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, and it's really fascinating. Just the, if you haven't watched it, it's sort of heavily implied that the like sustained sort of like still alive kind of mummy of Ganondorf is buried underground. I think it's meant to be beneath Hyrule Castle, and are sort of like fuck, well, I ruined that. Yeah, so and there's sort of this hand that's gripping Ganondorf's chest, and the stuff that looks like malice is kind of pouring out of this like chest wound, I guess. And they say it, I haven't played Twilight Princess, but they say that it's kind of the same sort of appearance as the end, as Ganondorf. It's the end of Twilight Princess, having been stabbed in the chest and all this. So they have all these theories about stuff that was supposedly present in Breath of the Wild, and it's really, really interesting. Just like that, like the Hyrule royalty intentionally kept Ganondorf alive to like use the power of like the evil inside of him, like the malice inside of him, as like a power source. for all this. I don't know, I guess they'd say like that it was sort of like his like negative energy powering like the Sheikah stuff. And oh, I'm so yawny all of a sudden. I'm doing this in the morning. I've been awake for a few hours now, and as soon as I start talking, the yawns come out. I guess it's kind of, the air is a little bit dry in here. Anywho, so yeah, it's just really interesting because that game, Breath of the Wild, it's like, you know, it's got lore, and it does kind of build on established Zelda lore, but also it has like its own history. But you sort of have to go and seek it out, right? I haven't played any of the Soulsborne games, but that's sort of what I understand about those games too, is that like you're not like hit up front with a narrative. It's more like you get a premise, and if you choose to explore the lore of the world, it's there, or you can just kind of run through and fight stuff. And it's sort of the same with Zelda, where like you can seek out talking to NPCs and reading documents and all this stuff, but like you don't have to. The point of the game isn't a story so much as it is just the ability to explore this world. Oh, Auron. Just like that. Kabam! But it's just interesting that they... now, I haven't finished Breath of the Wild. I'm very close to it. I have this thing that we've sort of mentioned on the show before, that in my personal time, where I keep like collecting these games, these like newer games that I'm interested in, and so I've just built this like backlog of games. So I'm really focusing on playing through my backlog of games before starting new ones. So I'm sitting on all these newer games that I have barely touched, or not touched at all in some cases. Oh, Waka. Dang. I thought I healed you. Why is my... Oh, okay. But I tried Breath of the Wild, and it was very alluring to me, and so even though it wasn't like in my regular playing rotation of trying to get through these older games, I couldn't help but like pop it in every once in a while. So I did get through a lot of it, just sort of like playing it intermittently, before it actually made it into my rotation, and I was almost all the way through the like main objectives of the game. I am sort of at the end, in like the end phase of the game, but I'm still trying to like accomplish some side quests and stuff. You know, but I think because I played it over the course of like a period of time, rather than just like trying to hammer it all out, or like getting fully invested in it, I sort of missed some of the like connective tissue of the game. So it's interesting to see like this trailer and how much of the lore that it implies, and it's sort of a teaser trailer if you haven't seen it. But when watching these analysis videos and theory videos, it's clear that there's a lot of little things peppered into this trailer that are connected to other aspects of the world. It's so fascinating, but it really, I don't want to try and like recall it all from memory, because I won't. There's a lot. It's actually quite dense, even though the trailer is only like a minute long. But there's a lot to pick apart, man. It's really interesting. So you should, if you haven't looked into any of this stuff, you should definitely check out the theory videos done on the trailer by Zeltik and Nintendo Black Crisis. In addition, Zeltik has like some really cool videos. This is sort of what I was talking about on the channel already with Ton that'll come out in a few weeks that you can see. That he does just really fun videos where he just talks about like the lore of Zelda, and so a few of these episodes that he does are about events that happen in the time preceding Breath of the Wild. So it's sort of like talking about like battles that took place in that world before the events of the game. But it's really interesting because if you're going through, as you're playing the game, you get to these points like Fort Hitano and I can't remember, but there's like a fortress or like a citadel sort of by Akala in like the Akala region. And these places are like swarming with guardians, especially the like fortress or like citadel type area. There's like the flying guardians and the crawly guardians that are just alive and going around, and it's actually quite, if you that citadel area has one of the towers in it, one of the Sheikah towers, so you really have to like climb this. It's sort of like a precursor to Hyrule Castle because it's a lot of like negotiating this path, or like maybe even trying to find a way around the beaten path, with all these guardians hanging about. So this is sort of, this citadel kind of rests on like a cliffside, and underneath, which is where the natural path kind of takes you, is underneath and by this lake. And again, there's just all these like old guardians, the ones that are inactive. And then if you kind of explore that marsh area a little bit more, there are some active guardians. And then kind of similarly in front of Fort Hitano, which is the field that you're kind of faced with after you go through the dueling peaks, as you're going to Kariko Village, Kariko Village. And it's kind of the same thing where there's like just a lot of these inactive guardians leading into this like fortified wall. And it's kind of easy to miss. Like they talk about the fort. Like if you talk to some of the NPCs specifically in the Fort Hitano area, they'll tell you like, oh yeah, there was a great battle here and stuff. But just watching these Zeltik videos about it, he paints these pictures and talks about these events with such like dramatic flair that it's really interesting. I know he draws from sources. This isn't all just him. He's taking from other writings and stuff, but
not really.
Just to talk about these events in such detail, where if you've played the game and you know what these areas look like, it's amazing, like how they can sort of paint the aftermath, because these areas are sort of like just still lifes of events that had happened in the past. Like there was just this huge, I mean, they call it Calamity Ganon, but it really was just a calamity, right? And there's this huge war that just decimated the land, and it hasn't been rebuilt or repopulated really, except for these little settlements peppered all over the place. So it's like you just get these like tableaus of these battles that occurred a long time ago. And to have it just described in such vivid detail, and then to be able to recall that area in the game, it's like, wow, man, they did such an amazing job of building this world. It really feels alive, and rich in a way that you don't necessarily get if you're playing the game, unless you really invest yourself in it. It's really, really cool, man. I just, I feel like I never want to stop playing Breath of the Wild, and also I can't wait for Breath of the Wild 2 to come out, even though I don't have a Switch, but Ton does, so maybe he'll let me borrow it. Yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on with me. I've just been swallowing a lot of those videos.
I felt something object there in that shell, couldn't you?
So Orin and Tidus are just kind of talking about what happened the last time they saw each other, which was at the beginning of the game. So we get some backstory here.
It can't be.
It is. Sin is checked.
There it is. There's the thing.
No, that's ridiculous. No way. I don't believe you.
Hate Tidus' stupid Ed Hardy pants.
But it is the truth. You'll see for yourself. Come with me.
If I say no?
Every story must have an ending.
I don't care about your stories.
I see. Sorry you feel that way. Fine then.
Does this game open up? Because I'm still like I mean I talked about this a little bit on the last time we played this with Ton, but I'm playing the remaster in my downtime, and it's like so I've played a little bit. I've played a ways past this point, and I think in my history of playing this game, the first time I played it, like right after it came out, that I think I even played up to the point that I'm still at, or even a little bit further. And it just seems so linear. I know people, I don't know, I feel like it has to open up at some point, because Final Fantasy X-2 I haven't played, but the Ghost plays it, and that seems like it's pretty, like, you just choose wherever you want to go, and there's just missions and stuff, but like there's no open world. It's just like you're on this path, and people criticize Final Fantasy 13 for that same thing, that it's like a lot of hallways, but that's all this game is. It's like, it's the same, and this game is revered. So why do people love this game but generally don't seem to like Final Fantasy 13 very much? I don't get it. I find Final Fantasy 13's story much more captivating than this one. Here we are. I also feel like I'm missing a lot of this game. Like, I don't know, it's like there's no side quests or anything like that. So I don't have the option to like choose to explore different areas. So I just don't know. I always have the feeling like there's got to be stuff that's like hidden in plain sight that I'm just missing. I don't know. Oh hey, all right. What's up? Up, dog. I think we're just about to the end of this area. We're probably gonna have some big conversation with Maester Seymour. I just saved. Ain't no thing. But chicken wine. So yeah, I think we're getting to the point where we're gonna leave Luca. Hey, what's up? Do you want to talk? Everyone will soon forget about it and occupy themselves with blipball. Blip blip. Scooby doo. Going. Oh yeah, this is the way to our ship. I can't remember what the next area is. I think we go to the next place and it's just like a long, like walking through the wilderness section. But maybe I'm wrong. I remember. Oh, or maybe it's the big battle with Sin.
He's gonna stay here.
Sir Orin knows him, apparently. You were right. He did meet someone he knew.
Do you think he'll find a way back to Zanarkand?
In any case, I'll miss having him around.
He's still in town, isn't he? I think I'll go see him. Oh!
Whoa.
Sir Orin!
And also with you.
Yuna,
Sir.
I wish to become your guardian. Do you accept?
You're serious?
You refuse.
So Auron was her father's, was Yuna's father's guardian, along with Jecht, who's Tidus's father.
I promised Braska.
You
Braska
promised
is
my
Yuna's
father.
father. Okay.
Thank you, Sir Auron. You're welcome to join us.
And he comes too.
So it's like Auron and Tidus have this sort of like side hustle where they're sort of, they have this personal connection to Sin because Sin is
Can't say.
Jecht. But they're not telling anybody about that, at least not yet. And so Auron is sort of, seems like he's sort of using
Yes, I'm looking forward to
Yuna's pilgrimage to facilitate that journey. And then now, so he's dragging
Hey, come with me.
Tidus along with that. What up?
Hey, watch.
Hey, you got pretty good.
Nice whistling.
You sound sad.
Yeah, maybe.
Want to scream?
I really don't think that's gonna help this time.
You know what?
Hmm?
It's embarrassing to say this myself, but summoners and their guardians are kind of like Spira's ray of light. A lot of people in Spira depend on us. I learned to practice smiling when I'm feeling sad, you know. I know it's hard.
Yeah. I understand. I think.
Right. Now let's see what you can do.
Huh?
Come on.
This is weird.
Next, try laughing out loud.
What?
Come on, show me. You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
And she's sort of like teaching him not to just be such a fucking tool bag. Like he's used to, he sort of created this like brand for himself because he's just like a famous athlete of just being like a edgy cool guy. And she's like kind of breaking that down a little bit, I think. It's almost a little bit manic pixie dream girl, but she's not manic. She's just unpretentious. And he's very pretentious. She's
I want my journey
a little bit naive and innocent,
to
but
be full of
I think there's more happening there that we haven't seen yet with Yuna.
If we should get separated.
She always seems like she's got something like a cloud over her almost.
I promise.
Something like heavy weighing on her besides her pilgrimage to save the world, obviously. Or maybe that's it. Maybe it's just like a heavy as the head that wears the crown kind of thing. Like, she feels a lot of pressure to perform. She's very young. Her father is, you know,
What are you looking at?
previously the most successful summoner to face Sin. So I'm sure she's got a lot of
All right.
pressure
Now,
that she's feeling.
we will go to the temple at Jose. And Guardians, don't forget to smile.
Yeah, that I think is Temple of Yavin, Jose. I can't remember what that is. But, all right, well, that is just about the long and short of it. I think we're getting to the point where we're going to get Riku back into the party, which will be chill, because she's pretty fun. I think this is just transitioning into playing again, and if so, this will be the end of the episode. Yeah. Cool. All right, well, we're going to walk across this stretch of land here. No more ocean stuff, and we will catch up on the next very good episode of Preston Can't Play. Bye, guys.